information we're just learning this morning. Good morning, Justin.
Yeah, good morning, Brittany. Quite an unimaginable story out here on Gary Drive. This plane crash killing 2 local leaders as we know of right now. The FAA and the NTSB on their way here to the scene to kind of go over what went wrong in this case. But first, I want to show you that video, that Nest video that we just showed you earlier. It was around 3 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday. You can hear that engine of the plane very low in the distance before you could hear a loud boom. We got some figures from the National Weather Service this morning as well, their hourly observation from the airport. Listen to this. At 3 and 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, they reported below freezing temperatures, fog and mist in the area at the time of the crash. Now, the airport is about 10 miles away from the crash site. So that's a little bit of a perspective for you. Multiple sources also telling us big local names were on board. 2 elected leaders here. Former Alderman Frank Edwards, who served as alderman before a short stint as mayor in 2010 and 2011. And of course, his wife, Cinda Edwards, the Sangamon County elected coroner.
It was at 3:12 when we heard a boom, and it was like the backyard, like a neighbor grilling, and it just exploded is how loud it was, and it sort of, you could feel it move a little bit.
I was kind of like concerned because you really don't think that a plane would crash so close to like a neighborhood, and so I was kind of shocked to hear about the plane crash.
So what are some of the things that the NTSB and the FAA will be looking at? Certainly, they'll be looking at any mechanical errors and the history of this specific aircraft, which originated at Sarasota Bradenton Airport. We're live here in Springfield. I'm Justin Carter. Back to you.
Right now, Justin, good morning.
Good morning, Brittany. Yeah, when you think of, our coroner, Cinda Edwards, and her husband, former Springfield Mayor Frank Edwards, it's just undescribable. Just we speak to them every week here at News Channel 20, especially Cinda, who works on Sangamon County death cases every single week. So it just kind of puts into perspective how close it can be, not only for us here as a news station, but also deputies, too, who have to come to the scene and process this scene. Let's give you a look at the scene as we are out here live on Gary Drive here in the Rochester, Illinois and Springfield borderline. The scene actually stretches down a quarter mile from where we're standing now, but that police tape is still up as the NTSB and the FAA continue their investigations. And then after that, they will release the scene to the Sangamon County coroner's office. The deputy coroner was here yesterday. They'll process the scene and then identify those bodies actively so we can get a clear idea of the victims involved in this case. But what we do know, multiple reports are indicating that Cinda Edwards, again, our elected county coroner here in Sangamon County, and her husband, former mayor, he's the former police chief as well. He also died in this crash. Now, coming up in the next half hour or so, we're also going to talk to a close source of ours. We're going to release some information that we got from him about the trajectory of this flight and what exactly happened when they made their way from Florida to Springfield. We're live here in Springfield. I'm Justin Carter for Fox Illinois Sunrise.
Justin, thank you for that update. This is still a developing story. For the latest on that plane crash, you can just go to our website, foxillinois.com. Weather is on the way, but first, let's get straight to Justin with some brand new information we're just learning this morning. Good morning, Justin.
And Brittany, yeah, good morning. We took a look at that flight information. It actually originated from Sarasota Bradenton, Florida International Airport. Then it hopped up over to the Huntsville, Alabama airport, then right up to Springfield until it made that fatal crash. We did speak with a source who's very close to the Edwards family, Cinda and Frank Edwards family. That source tells us that the family was actually headed back from Florida to get their personal plane repaired. Of course, federal investigators will be looking into that on scene today as we also learn more about the history of the aircraft, if it had any at all mechanical issues. But what a nightmare, certainly, for a family and neighbors here. Frank Edwards, of course, a former Springfield mayor, fire chief, and alderman, a household name, and his wife, our elected Sangamon County coroner, Cinda Edwards.
It was a pretty tall plume of smoke. It was probably about as wide as that house that it landed behind over there. But it didn't last long. It was the dark smoke and just kind of went up in the air and dissipated. It's too bad that happens to anybody, but someone that's prominent in the community, that's pretty sad to hear. I think more people will be connected to someone like that. Not that it makes it any harder or easier for someone else that goes down in a tragedy like that.
Yeah, and Brittany, what's also very interesting is that in this area, in almost every block, there's a police or some type of investigative unit here wanting to find out what exactly happened. Of course, the NTSB and the FAA will be investigating all day long. And of course, we'll be bringing you any information as it develops later on today. For now, reporting live here in Springfield, I'm Justin Carter for Fox Illinois Sunrise.
Live team coverage from the crash site this midday. Our Justin Carter has been following this story very closely. He's going to walk us through some new information we're just learning this midday. Justin.
Yeah, Brittany, good morning to you. Yeah, breaking news just into our newsroom right now. About 20 minutes ago, the Sangamon County Sheriff's Department just confirmed the identities of the 3 people who were killed in this plane crash. 69-year-old John Evans of Glen Arm, also Frank Edwards, as we've been reporting all morning, 69 as well, and 63-year-old Cinda Edwards, the current Sangamon County coroner, all dying in this plane crash. It happened yesterday around 3 p.m. I want to show you and step out of the way and show you exactly where we are. We're actually about a few hundred yards from that scene. We also know this morning both the FAA and the NTSB are here. The agencies told us over the phone this morning it could take as long as a year to figure this whole thing out. Now, let's also take you to some video, too. Right now, we're told that they are surveying the wreckage, and we got a closer view earlier this morning. This is where that plane came down this morning, a tarp and remnants of debris just illuminated by the bright lights there. That was around 4:45 this morning. Now, behind that home on Gary Drive, you can see is where this all played out. We got word from a National Weather Service automated observation that around 3 p.m. yesterday, it was below freezing, fog and mist reported, visibility about 5 miles ahead. It could certainly indicate a rough ride.
It was at 3:12 when we heard a boom, and it was like the backyard, like a neighbor grilling, and it just exploded is how loud it was, and it sort of, you could feel it move a little bit.
I was kind of like concerned because you really don't think that a plane would crash so close to like a neighborhood, and so I was kind of shocked to hear about the plane crash.
And the outpouring of support certainly flooding on social media. In the next 15 minutes, we'll showcase some of those reports of people just kind of expressing their support to the Edwards family. We're live here in Springfield. I'm Justin Carter, News Channel 20. Back to you.
On the scene, and let's start with Nikki McGee. What can you tell us?
Well, we're here in Springfield, right on the Rochester border in Sangamon County, and this is just about as close as law enforcement is letting us get. If you look behind my shoulder, you can see we have about a dozen law enforcement at least here behind me, everything from fire to local police departments, as well as the sheriff's office. Now, I want to take you over here to a house right over beside it. This is as close as we've been able to get. Like I said, that neighbor tells us that from his backyard in the corner, he is able to see a blue tarp, but that's as much as we're able to see at this point. Now, the FAA has confirmed that there was a plane crash. They say it was a twin-engine Piper Aerostar plane that was coming from Huntsville, Alabama, after getting gas. Now, right now, neighbors say that what they heard was a loud boom right after 3 p.m. Now, from here, we're about to attend a press conference being put on by the Sangamon County Sheriff that starts at 5:30, so we'll be keeping you up to date with the latest. Reporting live from Springfield, I'm Nikki McGee. Back to you.
Right, thank you, Nikki. You could see that is he's on the scene, and Nikki is at the press conference waiting for it to begin. Let's head out to her live.
Well, I'm here at Grace Bible Church off of Rochester Road, still in Springfield. The Sangamon County Sheriff has called a press conference set to start here in just a few minutes. Now, right now, it's unclear exactly whose jurisdiction this falls under. We've seen fire crews from around the area, as well as police, and of course, the sheriff's office. But stick with us. This press conference is about to start here at 5:45, and we'll keep you up to date with the latest. Reporting live from Springfield, I'm Nikki McGee. Back to you.
News, the plane that went down in Sangamon County just after 3 o'clock. We just wrapped up a press conference with Sheriff Jack Campbell. Nikki McGee was in that press conference, and what can you tell us?
Well, just moments ago, we had a press conference with the Sangamon County Sheriff. He told us some new information about this crash. The first of which being we now know that 3 people have died that were in the crash, as well as a dog. That does include the pilot. Right now, they're unsure of exactly what caused the crash, but apparently the pilot was calling into the Abraham Capital Area Airport saying that they were having problems with instruments and weather, even though it's unclear exactly what was the cause of that. Now, right now, the FAA is investigating the scene. They are on site. They have to first clear that scene and hand it over to the Sangamon County before they'll be able to go on and identify the bodies. Now, from there, they hope that will be wrapped up within the next hour when the coroner can get on the site. Reporting live from Springfield, I'm Nikki McGee. Back to you.
Day, our Justin Carter is there continuing to track the very latest. And Justin, what do we know so far?
Brittany, again, I want to just update you on this situation out here, this just deadly plane crash here on the Rochester and Springfield border. 69-year-old John Evans of Glen Arm, just confirmed by the Sangamon County Sheriff's Department as one of those victims. Another victim, former Springfield mayor and alderman and police chief, 69-year-old Frank Edwards. And Cinda Edwards, his wife, 63 years old, of Springfield. Of course, you know her as the current Sangamon County coroner. Let's just take you to the scene here. It just happened yesterday. Nest camera capturing the moment where that plane crashed. Now, the FAA and the NTSB, we're told, are on scene right now. I just got off the phone with both agencies. The FAA has been here since yesterday. The NTSB just got here at 10 a.m. Also, I just wanted to talk to you also about the source that we kind of gathered yesterday. One of the close friends of the Edwards family told us that the family was heading back from Florida to get their personal plane repaired. Of course, federal investigators will be working on that part of the story today as we kind of learn more about the history of the aircraft, but certainly a nightmare for both family and neighbors here.
It was a pretty tall plume of smoke. It was probably about as wide as that house that it landed behind over there, but it didn't last long. It was a dark smoke and just kind of went up in the air and dissipated. It's too bad that happens to anybody, but someone that's prominent in the community. That's pretty sad to hear. I think more people will be connected to someone like that. Not that it makes it any harder or easier for someone else that goes down in a tragedy like that.
And as we head into midday, the outpouring of support again flowing in. Councilwoman Kristen DeCenzo writing on social media, quote, "Mayor Frank Edwards got this city through a very difficult time. I know the city will do the same for everyone who loved him and his family. My thoughts and prayers going out to the Edwards family who gave so much of themselves to this community." Of course, we'll have some more reaction to this very heartbreaking, devastating story here out in Springfield coming up at 5 and 6 o'clock tonight. For now, reporting live here in Springfield, I'm Justin Carter, News Channel 20.
New information we're just learning this morning. Justin.
Good morning, Brittany. Yeah, we took a look at the flight path of this it's the aircraft. The plane actually took off from the Sarasota Bradenton International Airport Monday afternoon, and then it stopped for gas in Huntsville, Alabama a short time after that, about a day later, Tuesday afternoon. Then before making its way up here to Springfield shortly after that. Now, I just got some information from a source close to one of the victims, Sangamon County Coroner Cinda Edwards, one of those victims, of course. That source told us that the family was heading back from Florida to actually get their personal plane repaired. Of course, federal investigators will be looking into that specifically on scene today as we continue to learn more about the history of this aircraft as well. But what a nightmare, certainly, for family and neighbors here. Frank Edwards, of course, a former Springfield mayor, the fire chief as well. He was a former fire chief and alderman in Springfield. And, of course, his wife, our elected Sangamon County coroner, Cinda Edwards.
It was a pretty tall plume of smoke. It was probably about as wide as that house that it landed behind over there. But it didn't last long. It was a dark smoke and just kind of went up in the air and dissipated. It's too bad that happens to anybody, but someone that's prominent in the community. That's pretty sad to hear. I think more people will be connected to someone like that. Not that it makes it any harder or easier for someone else that goes down in a tragedy like that.
And of course, again, the FAA and members of the NTSB, we're told, are expected to be here either around 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. Now, coming up in about 15 minutes or so, we actually got a chance to go down to the site And it's just very heartbreaking. You can see a lot of lights down there. There's Springfield police down there, and much of the scene covered in blue tarp. So we'll kind of set the scene for you. We decided to stay a little bit back to give them some time to investigate. For now, reporting live here in Springfield, I'm Justin Carter, News Channel 20. Hey, Brittany, yeah, we want to set the scene for you a little bit. This is just an unimaginable tragedy. We're here on Gary Drive, right on the Rochester-Springfield borderline. Let's give you a live look at what's going on right now. You can see some crime police tape here, kind of just peppering the area. A lot of police vehicles also around. Behind this home here, you see there's brush, and then there's more trees and things, and that's where you can find that scene where that plane crashed around 3 o'clock. Just an unimaginable scene when we got down there. We got a little bit closer, decided to pull back a little bit so the sheriff's department can continue their investigation. But what we saw was just a lot of lights as they look for clues as to maybe what possibly happened in this case. We also saw some blue tarp as well. I did speak to somebody from the sheriff's department very briefly, and he told us that this is just very heartbreaking for the department. It hits very close to him, and it does for us too. Here at News Channel 20, we speak to Cinda a lot. Cinda Edwards, of course, one of the reported victims in this crash. We speak to her a lot as we continue to report stories about deaths in our community. So it definitely hits close to home for us too. So prayers for everybody involved. We'll be back here live at 6 o'clock. For now, reporting live here in Springfield, Justin Carter, News Channel 20.
Weather is in the forecast. But first, let's get straight to Justin walking us through this morning some new information we're just learning. Good morning, Justin.
Good morning, Brittany. Yeah, it's really hard to grip and grapple with. I mean, two local leaders, big names here in the city of Springfield and the county, killed the way they were in a plane crash yesterday. The FAA and the NTSB, federal investigators, arriving any moment now to investigate. But I want to show you that Nest video that we showed you earlier on. It was around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You could hear that engine of that plane very low in the distance before you could hear a loud boom after that. We got some figures from the National Weather Service this morning. Their hourly observation from the Abraham Lincoln International Capital Airport at 3 and 4 p.m. They reported below freezing temperatures, fog and mist at the time of the crash as well. Dense fog there, visibility very low. Multiple sources also telling us big local names were on board again. Two elected leaders, former Alderman Frank Edwards, who served as alderman before a short stint as mayor in 2010 and 2011, and Cinda Edwards, his wife, the elected Sangamon County coroner.
It was at 3:12 when we heard a boom, and it was like the backyard, like a neighbor grilling, and it just exploded is how loud it was, and it sort of, you could feel it move a little bit.
I was kind of like concerned because you really don't think that a plane would crash so close to like a neighborhood, and so I was kind of shocked to hear about the plane crash.
Again, the FAA and possibly the members of the NTSB will be here in just a short amount of time. I spoke with the deputy about an hour ago. He said possibly around 7 even. A source of mine also spoke to Cinda last week. He tells us exactly where they were heading from and exactly what that flight path was. That's coming up beginning at 6:30 rather. Reporting live here in Springfield, I'm Justin Carter. Back to you.
Justin, thank you for that update there. The more troubling weather is in the forecast. But first, let's get straight to Justin with some new information we're just learning from the scene this morning. Good morning, Justin.
Brittany, I took a look at the flight information from Flight Tracker. It shows that flight actually originated at the Sarasota Bradenton International Airport Monday afternoon, then slowly made its way up to Huntsville, Alabama Tuesday, and then up to Springfield thereafter around 3 p.m. I also spoke with a source close to the Edwards family. That source tells us one of those victims, Sangamon County Coroner Cinda Edwards, she was actually heading back from Florida with her husband and another unidentified person, their dog too, to get their personal plane repaired. Of course, federal investigators will be looking into that on scene today as we continue to learn more about the history of this aircraft and any mechanical issues it may have suffered from previously. But what a nightmare, certainly, for a family and also neighbors here, too, who had to witness this. Frank Edwards, a former Springfield mayor, fire chief, and alderman, and, of course, his wife, our elected Sangamon County coroner, Cinda Edwards.
It was a pretty tall plume of smoke. It was probably about as wide as that house that it landed behind over there. But it didn't last long. It was the dark smoke and just kind of went up in the air and dissipated. It's too bad that happens to anybody, but someone that's prominent in the community. That's pretty sad to hear. I think more people would be connected to someone like that. Not that it makes it any harder or easier for someone else that goes down in a tragedy like that.
And again, the FAA and the NTSB will be out here. We're told they're supposed to be out here around 6 a.m. A deputy also told me possibly 7 a.m. But of course, we'll be following this very, very closely. And of course, they're also going to be looking for any mechanical errors that this aircraft may have suffered from yesterday afternoon. Certainly a tragedy out here on Gary Drive. Reporting live here in Springfield, I'm Justin Carter, News Channel 20.
Identified. Our live stream coverage continues this morning. Our Justin Carter live from the crash site with what we know this morning. Justin.
Yeah, good morning, Brittany. Yeah, quite an emotional scene here for everybody, not only neighbors and I'm sure the Edwards family, two of the victims in this crash, but just also the Sangamon County Department, the Sheriff's Department. They too are reeling after working so closely with Cinda Edwards. Of course, she's the Sangamon County Coroner. I want to set the scene for you. First of all, this is Gary Drive here. We're on the Springfield-Rochester border. You can see some police tape here bordering the scene. This scene sets about a quarter-mile down the road here. When we go down there, we went down there about an hour and a half ago. We saw a lot of lights. We saw some blue tarps there protecting the scene as the NTSB and the FAA are kind of gathering some more information. They're expected to arrive any moment now. We're told 7 a.m. At the very, very latest. So we're going to continue to follow this one very, very closely, but definitely an emotional scene. And of course, we'll have more on our sister station, Fox Illinois Sunrise, beginning at 7 o'clock. For now, reporting live here in Springfield, I'm Justin Carter, News Channel 20.
And this, of course, is still a developing story. For the latest on that plane crash, you can go to our website, newschannel20.com.
We're here at Grace Bible Church in Springfield where the press conference with the sheriff has just wrapped up. We're getting brand new information about this plane. We're being told it crashed about 75 feet away from a residence and it was on fire, making it unable for law enforcement to approach. Right now, they say 3 people are dead. That includes the pilot on top of a dog. We're learning that that plane was approaching the Capitol Airport. They apparently called in and said they were having problems because of weather and some sort of problems with instruments, but it's unclear exactly what that means right now. They're telling us that right now the FAA is on the scene. They first have to clear that before that they can hand it over to local law enforcement. At that point, the coroner will be allowed on the scene so they can identify the bodies. And from there, the Sangamon County Sheriff's Office will handle this investigation on top of the NTSB. Reporting live from Springfield, I'm Nikki McGee. Back to you.